Quick question for you. Which weighs more, a ton of feathers or a ton of bricks? Be honest, for a split second, your brain probably just shouted, bricks, even though you know better.
A ton is, of course, a ton. The mass is exactly the same, but our intuition totally tricks us here because of a hidden, fundamental variable in physics. We're so tempted to think of the bricks as heavier just because of how tightly packed they are.
And that brilliantly illustrates this hidden variable. The masses are identical, but the physical space, the volume, occupied by the feathers is absolutely massive compared to that small, compact pile of bricks. The mathematical difference we're dealing with here is their density.
By the end of this explainer, you're going to completely master the concept of density. You'll learn the core formula behind it, understand how it reveals the very structure of matter, and will actually apply it together to calculate the forces at play in one of the largest real-world engineering projects on Earth.
Okay, let's dive into the formal definition. What exactly is density? Simply put, density is the mass per unit volume of a substance or object. It basically tells us how much stuff, how much matter, is tightly packed into a specific, given space. It's an absolutely crucial characteristic of every single substance in the physical universe.
Let's build this formula step by step. Step 1, we have mass, which is represented by a lowercase m. Step 2, we have volume, represented by a capital V. And step 3, we bring them together. Density equals mass divided by volume. Now the symbol we use for density is the Greek letter rho. So rho equals m over v. And since we measure mass in kilograms and volume in cubic meters, our standard SI unit for density is kilograms per cubic meter.
Now you might be wondering, how can I test this at home? Well, try this quick experiment. Think about a pile of sugar and a pile of salt. They look pretty similar, right? But if you take the exact same volume of both, say exactly 1 cup of each, they'll actually have different masses. Why does this happen? The reason is their differing densities, which are determined right down to their actual crystal structures and the microscopic air spaces between those crystals.
What's super cool is how we can use this property to identify what something is actually made of. It's like a fingerprint for materials. When we compare specific densities, gold comes in at an incredible 19.32 times 10 to the third kilograms per cubic meter. That's roughly 2.5 times the density of iron, which sits at 7.8. And iron is nearly 3 times denser than aluminum, down there at 2.7. So if you hand a physicist an unknown block of metal, the very first thing they'll do is measure its mass and its volume to find its density. Density doesn't just identify materials, it reveals the invisible phase and substructure of matter. For example, the densities of solids and liquids are relatively close to each other. Why? Because physically their atoms are in super close contact. There's very little empty space. But then you look at gases. Their densities are massively lower, often 1,000 times less, because the atoms in gases are separated by huge amounts of empty space.
Okay, time for a quick retention check. Let's see if you can actively apply this to a real-life scenario right now. Think about your own body. What happens to your overall density when you take a big, deep breath of air in? Keep our formula in mind, rho equals m over v.
Here's the key. When you inhale, your lung volume expands significantly. That's your V, your denominator, getting bigger. Now, the air you breathe in has a tiny bit of mass, sure, but compared to your entire body, your overall mass, m, barely changes at all. So, with a much larger volume and roughly the same mass, your average body density actually decreases. This is exactly why filling your lungs helps you float when you're hanging out in a swimming pool.
Real-world application: the Three Gorges Dam.
Let's scale things way up and see how this builds into massive engineering. Imagine a reservoir holding back a literal inland sea. We want to find the total mass of the water behind this dam. First, we need the volume. The reservoir has a surface area of 50.0 square kilometers and an average depth of 40 meters. When we multiply the area by the depth, making sure to convert those kilometers into meters first, we get a staggering volume of 2.00 times 10 to the 9th cubic meters. That is our V.
Now we grab our formula and rearrange it. Mass equals density multiplied by volume. We take the specific density of fresh water, which is 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter, and multiply it by our massive volume. We get a mass of 2 times 10 to the 12th kilograms. Multiply that mass by Earth's gravity, and we find the total weight of the water is a mind-blowing 1.96 times 10 to the 13th newtons. That's the standard unit we use to measure force.
Wait, this is absolutely crucial. Think about that massive number for a second. Does the concrete dam have to physically support all 1.96 times 10 to the 13th newtons of that weight directly? The answer is no. As you'll discover later when we get into fluid statics, the horizontal force the dam actually has to hold back is much, much smaller than the total downward weight of the entire reservoir of water.
Before we wrap up, let's test your new intuition with a classic physics riddle. Imagine a glass of ice water filled to the very brim. The ice cubes are floating, sticking up just slightly above the rim. When that ice melts completely, will the water overflow the glass? I'll leave you to ponder the exact math on that one, but the secret lies in the fact that solid ice is less dense than liquid water, which is exactly why it floats in the first place.
Let's quickly summarize our key takeaways. First, density, represented by the Greek letter rho, is simply mass divided by volume. Second, it isn't just a random number. It's a window into the atomic substructure and the fundamental composition of a material. And third, whether you're taking a deep breath to float in a pool or calculating the mass behind the Three Gorges Dam, mastering this mathematical relationship is absolutely essential for solving real-world physical problems.
Which leaves us with one final provocative question. We established earlier that steel has a density of 7.8 times 10 to the third kilograms per cubic meter. That is almost 8 times denser than water. If higher density objects sink, how does a massive heavy solid steel cargo ship stay afloat on the ocean? The answer is going to completely redefine how you look at shape and volume, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack in our next explainer on Archimedes' principle and buoyancy. Stay curious, keep calculating, and we'll see you next time.